on my RDC.
What a play here coming through. His team needs a spark. He turns the corner, breaks a tackle, in! He's being recruited by the ACC, the SEC, Big Ten.
Right down the middle of the field, turns the defender around, and now sprints right past him.
This is the biggest game of the year for both teams, whether that's the rivalry, playoff seeding, or just the pride these two fan bases have. Every year they have a chance to win the state championship. That'll be the same story this year.
Welcome back with us here as we start another exciting season of Friday Night Rivals.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Papa John's Friday Night Rivals Kickoff Special, presented by Arthritis Knee Pain Centers. We're so excited to present a new season of high school football on MyRDC. Starting Friday, August 30th, we've got the first of 10 exciting matchups featuring great rivalries, including some teams looking to avenge season-ending losses in this year's rematch. Stick around because over the next 30 minutes, we'll break down the games with coach and player interviews. And later in the show, we'll go to NC State to dig into why they've become a destination for so much homegrown talent. And with that, it's time to dive into our first matchup. We kick off with Holly Springs traveling to Clayton. Golden Hawks coach Robert Firth is excited about much of the young talent on his team. The defense will be led by the linebacking core, with Maddox Moore registering 113 tackles last year. Holly Springs overcame an 18-point deficit in last year's matchup to win 42-38, though the Comets went on to have a 10-win season. Third-year head coach Scott Chadwick looks to lead the Comets to even greater heights this season.
What's the best part of seeing your team work this offseason?
Well, I think just having a taste of success that we had this past year, I think it's kind of certainly given them a little bit of motivation to continue to work. You know, we had a chance to win the conference last year and, you know, lost that on the last play of the game and, you know, should have probably advanced in the playoffs a little further. So I think that's the biggest thing is just winning some kind of championship and going even farther.
The matchup with Holly Springs, a great game last year. What can we expect for the premiere?
First of all, you have a great atmosphere, number one, and two teams that have, you know, won 9-10 games each the last couple of years. So I think you're going to get a great football game too.
What are your goals for your junior year?
As in stats-wise, triple-digit tackles, like 10-plus sacks, 15-plus sacks, tackle for loss, you know, get all conference again.
And we'll be covering you against Holly Springs. What's going to take to beat them this year?
We just can't take our foot off the gas. Like last year, we gave them a little bit too much hope. Went in the halftime up 18. They came out firing. We just took our foot off the gas. So we got to keep going. And like if we get a big up lead. So.
Our second game features Millbrook at Garner, two tradition-rich programs, each with second-year coaches. Millbrook was just one win away from the title game 2 years ago, but they have to regroup at quarterback with one of the greatest in school history in Mason Fortune moving on to college. They'll rely on their strong running back group and veterans up front. On defense, they're led by star sophomore Quentin Cipher. In year one, Garner coach Deron Donald restored the team's tradition, leading the Trojans to 6 wins and a playoff berth. Donald instilled toughness and discipline, clearly evident by the way his team played every week. This year's team will be led by one of the best secondaries in the state. Last season, Coach Donald led his team into Raleigh searching for a signature win, and he got one.
Final opportunity possibly here for Fortune. Steps up, throws, incomplete, knocked away. And with 2 seconds left, the Trojans are going to win.
That's what it was, a total team effort. That's what we build our program on. It ain't about no eyes, it's about us. We speak French around here, we. Everything we do is together, we.
How do you top that? With the game of the week in North Carolina as Cardinal Gibbons host Rolesville. These teams met twice last season. Rolesville won the first matchup, but the Crusaders ended the top-seeded Rams season in the 4th round of the playoffs.
What do you think is going to be the strength of this year's team?
We've actually got quite a bit coming back. I think we've got 7 starters on defense and 8 on offense that will be back from last year. The experience that we got, especially in the postseason, was huge for this group. And you know, with it ending in the state semifinal game, I think it left a real hunger in them. We've had a great offseason, so I'm excited about this group for sure.
And last year you played Rolesville in the non-conference schedule, and then you play them in the playoffs and you win on their home field. What were some of those adjustments you made from that first game going into the second game?
Tactically, right, we saw some things that maybe we could take advantage of, and so we made some adjustments there in terms of game plan. And then personnel, we moved a couple guys around that we felt like were better matchups for us after having seen them that first go round. That's a great example of why we want to play a tough non-conference schedule. It will be arguably the biggest game in the state of North Carolina that weekend, and I think it'll be a preview of two teams that had the potential to make some really deep runs in the playoffs.
Last year's playoff game was amazing. It was really fun. We were able to beat them late in the fourth quarter, so I think that it'll be a good opportunity to show what we can do.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I think almost everyone has us top 2 in the East.
What do you think is going to be the difference in that game?
Just who can execute better, who can just stick to what they're doing and impose their will on the other team.
This year's team has so much talent. What are you most excited to watch your team do this year?
Just finish, man. My motto since last year has always been finish. Bringing back 18 starters is unheard of on any level. And the fact that we have guys that can fill those spots, that some of the scenes that we had last year, the big name guys that left us, they can fill those spots and we don't miss a beat, man. So the fact that these guys understand what's ahead of us and what's at stake, I think they're ready to finish this time. That's why I know the aura we have here, this program is definitely different now because they understand we got that close and we didn't get a chance to finish, but now they're hungry enough to want to finish. Yeah. Having another opportunity to face them again, my boys been living up to that. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
What motivates you? What's that factor that really gets you going?
Really the loss last year, that really motivates all of us, and we just really want this state championship. All the players bought in, we really want this.
Really tough loss in the playoffs, so we all just locked in, realized we didn't want that feeling no more, so this offseason we've been grinding.
Definitely a revenge factor, but the main goal this year is probably a state championship, win it all.
Up next, we'll cover one of the state's most historic rivalries, and later we'll bring you our conversation with Wolfpack coach Dave Dorn and many of his players who started the past seasons of Friday Night Rivals. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Papa John's Friday Night Rivals Kickoff Special, presented by Arthritis Knee Pain Centers. Up next, we're at Trentini Stadium for Leesville Road versus Wake Forest. The Pride come off of a 9-3 season, reaching the second round of the playoffs. Coach Ben Kolstad and his team have had a great offseason. This year's team has high expectations with another strong roster of returning players. They include star quarterback DeAndre Goldston and his brother Devon at wide receiver, along with Jaden Carey. Meanwhile, Wake Forest is always a threat to make a deep playoff run. We caught up with Coach Reggie Lucas and his ACC-committed quarterback.
Coach, season's approaching, team's working hard, and your group, I know a lot of high expectations for this year's team.
Absolutely. We got a senior group coming back that I think is hungry. We want to build off what we started last year. And I say started because, 2 years in a row we went out in the second round. We want to get past that second round this year. But as always, we're going to take one game at a time. We got a good leader at quarterback in Kayvon Simmons, so we're looking at him to lead the team and looking forward to another great high school season.
And when you watch your team, it's one of the most physical teams anybody will watch, and it's evident by the way you practice. Where does that discipline come from?
Well, like you said, I think you got to practice that because I think you're going to get in the game how you practice. So although we have limitations with being physical and tackling in practice, we try to get as much contact in practice to prepare for that game-like feel. And our kids do a good job of responding to practices.
What's the best part of coaching these kids?
The best part is that, I don't feel like I'm working. I'm doing what I love, and I always wanted to give back to this community, and I was fortunate enough to get this opportunity. So I come every morning, every day, and I just enjoy what I do. I love young people, and this is just another way to give them an opportunity to get started in life.
And we'll have you on Friday Night Rivals this year, Leesville at Wake Forest. I know last year that was an overtime ball game. What can we expect in that game?
Well, just look at the history of Wake Forest and Leesville. Back when we was in the same conferences, that was great football, and we continued that, continue playing each other non-conference games. And every time we play that team, they're well coached, and we try to prepare for them. And it turns out to be a great game every time. It's going to come down to one team making a mistake and the other team capitalizing, and that's what happened last year.
And Kayvon, you're committed to Duke. How excited are you to be a Blue Devil for the next 4 years?
Extremely excited. I feel like I can go there and just develop into the best person possible. The academics and athletics is just incredible to me, and I can't wait to get up there and work. They believed in my talent, and that's the biggest thing. They believed in me. I believe in what they're doing up there, so I'm just excited to go up there and play for them.
Next up, we've got one of the state's most historic rivalries in Cary versus Apex. This game features two of the top tight ends in the country with ECU commit Caleb Morrow of Apex and NC State commit Gus Ritchie of Cary, as well as Cary tackle Trey Blue, committed to Mac Brown of the North Carolina Tar Heels. We're hoping for a finish as great as last year.
Klingman the holder. Good snap, placement, and it is going to be good! 52-yard field goal from Caleb Willis with 11 seconds remaining.
The Friday night rival schedule continues with two more conference showdowns. First up, Enloe looks for back-to-back wins over Broughton. There's momentum behind Coach Ryan Clark and his team. They return 13 starters and look to build on last year's 4-win season. Second-year Broughton coach Tom McGuire has his eyes set on the playoffs after laying a strong foundation in year one, also returning 13 starters. Then, Athens Drive looks to defend last year's 41-40 shootout victory over Sanderson. Jaguars coach Tommy Smith has brought excitement back to Athens Drive, while the key to success for Jeremy Buck Spartans lies in the offensive line. They lost 4 one-possession games last year. If they win a few of those, they could be back in the playoffs. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll preview the rest of the schedule, and later, a visit to NC State to talk with many of the recent stars of Friday Night Rivals on their commitments to the Wolfpack. Welcome back to the Papa John's Friday Night Rivals Kickoff Special, presented by Arthritis Knee Pain Centers. Next up on our schedule is a crosstown rivalry between Heritage and Wake Forest. It took 13 seasons, but the Huskies finally got in the win column versus their rival last year. They'll be relying on a strong offensive line leading the way for running back LaDainian Person. Last year, they faced one of the toughest schedules in the state, and they look for that experience to propel them to a deep playoff run. And 3-time state champion Reggie Lucas and his team at Wake Forest look to regain the bragging rights that go with the victory.
It's two hometown teams going at each other. And again, you talk about what happened last year. That game came down to the last play, and they was able to get the call to win the game. Those kids over there are friends with our guys, so it's like you're playing family, but you want to win that game because you get to talk about it the whole year.
And Friday Night Rivals has been out to Wake Forest many years in the past. You've had such great success. What does that opportunity and exposure mean to the kids?
Well, it's big because, again, from the time that I played football in high school or when you played, the media has done a great job of covering high school football. And you guys get to get us on TV and exposed to maybe people who don't come to the game. So these guys are getting recognized. They're getting looked at by college coaches. And because you guys are doing this, it allows these guys to have more opportunities.
Up next, we visit the SWAC for one of the area's newer rivalries as Middle Creek hosts Apex Friendship. The Mustangs finished 5-2 in conference last year and will be led by quarterback wide receiver combo of Hawk Schoenfield, who threw for over 2,600 yards and 24 touchdowns, and Furman commit Braylon Stewart, who had over 1,200 yards receiving and hauled in 16 touchdowns. And for the Patriots, Coach Adam Sanders led his team to an impressive 9-3 record last year. He's looking to build on that success with 11 starters back, including star running back Jaden Avery, along with a talented offense. And on to our season finale. To say the Cleveland Rams have dominated within the Greater Neuse River Conference would be an understatement. They've won it 6 straight seasons and haven't lost a conference game since 2017. The Rams scored at least 28 points in each game last year and returned several key starters from a 13-win team that made the 4th round of the playoffs. The last team to beat them and to win the conference, that would be Clayton. Last year's matchup was for the conference title and came down to the final play of the game. We're hoping for another epic battle this year.
When you ever get to a rivalry game, stats and all that, and it all goes out the window, record goes out the window, and you just got to do what you got to do to win the football game. And last year took the last play to get that done, but the guys were real confident in that they weren't going to lose that football game, and they made the plays they needed to. So it takes that, in rivalry games, they're willing to play 4 quarters up to the last play if needed.
Jackson, leader of this team, you've been through so many outstanding games in your career. What's it like this being your final year and getting ready for a long season?
I'm ready for it. Me and the guys been working a lot in the off season. My final season, I'm trying to give it all I got, put it all out on the field. And for this last ride, I got to.
Why is that game different from any others?
Honestly, I feel like it's a lot of competition. They got a lot of great athletes. We got a lot of great athletes. Close town, we like 10, 15 minutes away, so we all know each other. Very big rival. We're all competitive, so us beating them, it just boosts it to another level. They want to beat us, and we want to beat them, so it makes it a great game every time.
Every year, you guys have a chance for deep playoff run, state championship. What's the reason in your mind?
I think it's a want to. Well, everybody wants to win, but as you can see, we come out here, we practice, we run, we lift, because we want to be better. We want to take it to that next level.
What's the biggest thing you've learned from Coach Riley?
Definitely resilience. Things aren't going to go the way that you plan a lot of the time, so it's just the way that you go about things and the next play mentality.
The 2 years I've been here, both years it's been, for the conference championship. So I think the biggest thing is that, the game carries a lot of importance, number one. But number two, obviously the rivalry. It is a very intense, heated rivalry. I don't know that you could have created a better atmosphere and a better game than what we had here last year.
Many of the area's top players from the past decade have gone on to play at NC State. Head coach Dave Doran has prioritized building a football culture that keeps North Carolina's top talent in state. And with nearly 20 players from Wake County alone, plus many more from the Triangle and across North Carolina on his roster, he's doing just that. We talked with Coach Doran and some of his current players who have had big games on Friday Night Rivals about why so much homegrown talent chooses to play for the Wolfpack. Here at NC State with head coach of the Wolfpack, Dave Doran. And coach, the season's about to start, but the season really never ends.
Yeah.
And recruiting is a big part of that. You and your staff has had so much success recruiting the Raleigh area and beyond. But why is it so important to recruit Raleigh?
Everything starts at home for us, And when I got here 12 years ago, which is crazy to say, the roster was not built that way. And so for me, just in my upbringing in the profession, the best teams I coached were the ones that had the most homegrown players on it.
What do you think made you all come and join the Wolfpack?
We all got a brotherhood, so, we all close. And I guess we all in a big group chat, too. So one day we just text each other and said, let's come on, and we did it.
Is that how it all started?
That's how it all started.
Inside out is how we build our football team, and it's the same in recruiting. We start at home, and then we expand and expand and expand until we find the right guys for the program. And Wake County's been great, so is the entire state of North Carolina, and we've had a lot of success, developing these guys and helping them reach their goals.
We take some of the kind of looked over players and make them some of the best players out there. So I think just the culture that we've developed here.
And over 20 players on the roster from Wake County, which I think is just amazing. And that's a testament to the staff. And there's a sense of pride if you're from this area and you're coming down here, your family gets to watch you play, your friends are here. What do you think it means to them, and why is it so important to, come and play for your home school?
Well, you grow up seeing all these teams, and it's a unique state. There's a lot of football teams in our state, and no one has our fan base. And so if you're playing in front of Wolfpack Nation, it's the largest alumni base in the state. It's sold out every game. It's crazy in there. And you're a part of that. And it breathes, it talks, you know what I mean? And it's a big grapevine. And so they know coming in here that, one, they can help us, it can impact us, but we can impact them in so many ways. And so then you go back to Garner, you go back to Rollsville, or you go back and those people watch the Wolfpack play, and they're proud of what we do in their communities, and they're a part of that.
I think it's like every kid's dreams is playing locally in Raleigh, then coming to your hometown school. It's really a huge blessing.
It really means a lot, just because I'm pretty much at home, 30 minutes from home. It's always where I've wanted to play, following my brother's footsteps, playing here. It's just a great thing to play in Carter Finley.
Coach Doran, he just really has he's really down to earth, and not just about football, but just as a person and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Some people might say like the coaches might recruit them a different way than how they're going to coach them, and Coach Doran's been the same. It's been a great relationship to have.
You see Drake Thomas and Thayer Thomas here. You see guys that grew up in the area. Ricky Person comes back and had a great year, and now is with Seattle. Peyton Wilson was here training yesterday. Ali McNeil's around training. These guys that are from Wake County or the area. And they wouldn't come back and hang out here if they didn't have a great experience, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best sales thing there is like when the former players are here every day in their off time training, that says it all.
A lot of guys from Raleigh. What makes that bond so special playing for your hometown?
It's big because we go way back from playing Pop Warner. Now that we get to play at a high level like this all together, it's a brotherhood, and a lot of schools don't have that.
I've always dreamed of playing D1 football, and especially being so close to home, and it's like the hometown team. So like all my friends are like, dang, I have a friend that plays on state. So it's just a pretty cool thing for me.
It's a dream come true. Like you can't get any better than that, playing Power 5 in your backyard. So just a dream come true.
Getting back to high school football is the dream come true for all of us at Friday Night Rivals. Thanks to Coach Dorn and his players for taking time to speak with us, and thanks to you for watching. I'm Jay Sunhalter, and I hope you enjoy our game coverage all season long on Friday Night Rivals. Good night.
Well, and you've got a record right now with extra points, consecutive extra points. You don't miss.
Not from that spot, no.
As a team, I want to get us a ring. I was on varsity my freshman year when we won it, and it would be nice to pair along the second one on my senior season.
On Friday Night Rivals against Wake Forest last year, you had 6 touchdowns, a big game. What was that experience like?
It was surreal. I mean, being able to celebrate with my teammates after the game, being able to hold that trophy up. It wasn't just myself having the touchdowns; it was also a team. So it was surreal.
And then young guys that are really coming into their own and going to provide a lot of great plays.
A lot of great calls.
You don't get 2 opportunities to play on TV anywhere, so it's a lot of fun.
You're going to be famous.
I hope so.
What advice would you give to Rollsville in that game?
Just because you're on TV, don't let nothing get to you. Just go out there, play fast, have fun, and play smart. And at the end of the day, you're playing for your brother and not yourself.
We'll be covering Apex versus Cary on Friday Night Rivals. What's that rivalry like?
I don't want to say hate because hate's a strong word, but you kind of just really dislike the other school and you kind of just want to go impose your will on them. So it's a lot like NC State and UNC's rivalry.
Do you have any message for your Cary Imps in that game?
Go beat the heck out of them.